Good Friday. Good morning. I put my blinker on. What a loser. Let's do this. Yes, I realize I'm wearing a pinky ring, and today's day 2 of it. At my age, I am still doing things that force me to think outside the box. I think only grandpas have worn pinky rings that I know. I'm like, who wears a pinky ring? But then you make something and it doesn't fit your big finger, and so you're like, oh, I'm not gonna whatever. I'm not gonna wear it. And you're like, no, I'm gonna stick it on my pinky. I'm gonna make myself wear it. I have worn sweatsuit wristbands for years and years and years, but I've been like a week without them, and it feels weird to not have them. But I think I don't know. One was giving me a rash for the first time in forever, and so my wrists feel naked, both of them. And anyway, you gotta have your flair, you know? I was telling the kids, the boys hopped in the car. I'm like, class, I need to be at class in 33 minutes, and I've got to make that drop at Graham's and then that drop at school. And then I got to jam and get there. And, you just do things and it just falls into place. Man, it's amazing what you can do in 33 minutes. But, we're rolling. We're rolling into our Friday. If you see in the background, it's a little foggy. And I was walking back to the car after dropping Palmer off, and I was like, oh, okay, gonna grab a mic, let's do this. Day 76. And I realized I didn't put a title on yesterday's video. And I was like, oh, I remember what I said, kind of, but I was like, what did I call it? And I was like, oh, I didn't call it anything. It's a good thing that this is a for me thing and not for everybody else thing. But anyway, you just got to have fun with things. And I'd be lying. Let's just keep this thing moving. I'd be lying if a couple weeks ago I wasn't like, why am I recording this? Let's stop doing this. Let's just be done. Let's enjoy a slow morning. Let me call my mom on the way. I can listen to a podcast. Let's, and I might. Who knows? But then I was like, you know what? You started this for you. And you're doing it for you. And it's so lame to say out loud, but I'm like, I'm proud of me for doing it. And that's pretty cool. I think I want to tell you today that jumping in is typically the best thing to do. And I just got done talking to Palmer, 4-year-old's preschool teacher. And next year, because of where his birthday lands, he'll either be the youngest kid in his school or he'll be the oldest kid in his school. So we could put him in TK next year, and then he'd be in kindergarten, and then he'd be in first grade. So he'd be 3 years behind Big Brother. But I don't know. I just think a lot of times, you're like, oh, we don't want him to be the youngest. We don't want him to be the smallest. Dude's not going to be the smallest, I'll tell you that. But we're just, I think, as humans, afraid of jumping in. But do you know what would happen if instead of TK, he goes to kindergarten? He's going to jump in and he's going to figure it all out. And it's going to be fantastic. On my drive home yesterday, I had the thought, I'm around kids who are behind in math and all this stuff. I used to teach math, and I was like, why did I get good at math? Why was math never a problem for me? And sure, I had the help, But in second grade, I got put in a second and third grade combo class. And I don't know about you, if I'm a teacher and I have to teach a combo class, I'm not teaching twice the material. I'm not teaching a third grade material and a second grade material to half the class. You're just teaching basically at a third grade level to everybody. And I remember being like, oh, that was tough, that was hard, but I learned so much. And I think kids rise to the level of expectation you set for them. And like the conversation I just had, I'm like, I think for a long time, I'm like, oh, I think the right decision is to hold him back. Let's have him be the oldest in class. There's a lot of confidence. There's years of maturity and developmental, blah, blah, blah. I think the right thing to do is have him jump into school. And he's in a preschool. A TK is kind of like another preschool. I'm afraid that, like, letting him develop another year doing the same thing is not having him rise to many expectations. And I think we all rise to the expectations we set for ourselves. And I don't know about you, I have very, very, very high expectations for me and my life and my goals and my friends and family and the people I love. And that can feel out of reach, out of touch. I set those high expectations with the anticipation that none of it's going to work out perfectly, and I am fully aware and okay with that. But I like the idea of setting really high expectations and missing it versus setting low expectations and hitting those low expectations. I do think there is a benefit to setting higher goals. And in the business world, how do you start a business? Do you enroll in college for 8 years and learn about business, or do you just jump in and figure it out? Because I promise you, if you want to, you will figure it out. And I promise you the opposite. If you don't want to figure it out, you will not figure it out. And college is the same way. Oh, I'm going to take a year off so that way I'm more ready to get to... Oh, no, you're not. You are not going to be more ready after taking off a year? Like, not even. We really do rise to our expectations. And I think I said it. Ran into a former student and felt I was pumped to see him. And I'm like, hey, what's going on? It was like, you in school, you working, what's going on? And it was, no. Okay. I am not going to judge you. But I think we had high expectations set for ourselves when we were in my class, I hope that high school isn't the finish line. I hope it's the starting line. I hope it is the beginning of the journey. Hopefully not the end, And, but nobody cares if you sit around after high school and do nothing. I bet your parents probably care. I care, but I don't care enough to where I'm going to change the way I'm living my life or do something different, But I'm like, I can't live anybody else's life, and I am not going to try because that doesn't do anything. But I think we should have high expectations for ourselves. I drive from one side of town to another side of town. I see all different types of neighborhoods, and I'm like, what do you want your future to look like? It's okay to have high expectations and say, I want that thing, and chase after it. If you don't hit it, that's fine, but I think it's better than just saying, yeah, I don't know. So if there is something in your life that you are procrastinating on or waiting for the right moment or whatever, flippin' jump into it. Throw yourself in if you have to and figure it out. And if you have jumped into something and you are in the figuring it out stage, guess what? Keep figuring it out. I and we believe in you. And if you've never set an expectation for yourself, January 1st is right around the corner. And as lame as it sounds, as a teacher, I'm already like, I need to talk to my kids about goals today. I don't want them to come back from Christmas break lazy as ever. A few days already into January. I'm like, hey, if there's anything that we're trying to throw on the goal chart, we got to get started now, early December, so that way there's momentum into whatever the heck we're trying to do. Because you can jump in, but if you have time and you're early, you can start to build that momentum. I don't know about you guys. You guys might not have been in a high school in a long time. I show up to school and I see these kids that are like well put together, smiling, dressed in all their jackets and warm clothes right now, pumped to be here. Maybe that's just like my perception of it, but still, I'm like, it is the coolest thing to pull onto this campus and see these kids ready to get to work, because that's what we're doing. So, it's Friday. Celebrate it like it's Monday. Earn your weekends. And what does that mean? Tomorrow's Saturday and you don't have school and you could sleep in if you want to, but I think we should earn the Saturdays that we have. And if we work our tails off Monday to Friday, those Saturdays are much, much sweeter. So jump in. Maybe the title of this, maybe not, who knows. Back up. Oh, you can see the police car. That's kind of fun. The old school police car the kids get to work on. And peace.